Out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So, on our Hanging Out feature this morning, I'm hanging out with Maria McCloy. She's a cultural pioneer. She is a publicist, an Afrocentric designer. By the way, she brought in some gifts here. So you're going to be seeing me a lot in some Maria McCloy clothes over the next couple of days. But she does so much. She's also a DJ. She has been shaping the city's creative landscape since the 90s, from co-founding the groundbreaking Black Rage Productions and Outrageous Records, which, by the way, helped launch careers of artists like Proverb and Reason, to building a celebrated Afrocentric accessories and fashion label, to rocking the decks at some of Johannesburg's most vibrant events. I mean, her fingerprints are all over the city's cultural DNA, and I'm happy that we're going to get to know her better this morning. If you want to join this conversation, you can call us on 011-883-0702. Send your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702. Maria, welcome to the show.
Wow, thank you for having me, and thank you for that intro. That's so beautiful. And walking into these offices and seeing my face on a huge poster, I mean, I feel very famous and important. Thank you. I know there's such important things to discuss, hectic stuff, but here I am.
You are an important person to sit across. You know, I said to a friend of mine yesterday, I was telling him that I'm going to have you on the show, and the first thing he says to me is, you know, every time I look at Maria, she feels South African. Like, she is the epitome of what a South African is. And I want us to begin there, because you were born in, was it in the UK?
I was born in England. My father was an English man.
Yeah.
And
Mom was Mosotho?
yes, so I was born in the UK whilst they were living in Sudan. So I went to England to give birth to me, and of course my family was there, and we had a home there. And then, no. So I was born in England, then we went to Nigeria, then we went to Sudan.
Oh, how
then
long
we
did
came
you...
back to England, then we went to Mozambique, then we came to Lesotho when I was 10, and then when I was 12, I came to school here in 1989, and this is where I've been ever since. So yes, I think I identify with like all of those, you know, Lesotho, England, South Africa. Those are my homes. I think nowadays you can have multiple identities and multiple homes,
absolutely.
and people are cool with that. But hey, I'm a Josie girl.
Yeah, you are.
Maybe I should run for Josie Mayor, culture mayor. I would like to be a culture mayor, a mayor of the night, a mayor of the streets.
Yeah, that would work. But tell me about what you wanted to do, because, I mean, when you look at what you studied, it's not a surprise that you ended up where you ended up.
Yes.
But is that what you've always wanted to do? Like, was journalism a thing, or
Absolutely.
you've always been interested in, like, culture and, you know, arts and creative space, music?
I was always interested in all of it.
Yeah.
So if people remembered me at boarding school, I couldn't wait for the Mail and Guardian to come out. I idolized those writers.
Wow.
And I couldn't wait to like go to bed and listen to 702 on my Walkman.
Wow.
You know, because it was 1990, the early 90s, so you can imagine what was happening in South Africa. And I thought I wanted to be a political reporter, you know, study journalism and go into politics. But at the same time, totally into music, totally into fashion magazines, into music magazines, listening to Metro FM, Bob Mabena, Glenn Lewis, Shadow Twala. I was totally, that was also what excited me. And then when I'd go home on holidays, I'd listen to the BBC. So anyone who knows me since I was a little girl and at university knows I'm exactly the same. When I got to university, I studied journalism and politics and 2 years of history, which was straight up my street. But I was writing for the student newspaper, and I was at the student radio at Rhodes University, actually same year as Stephen Krutas.
Yes.
So we come out of the same year. So very eventful times and interesting times. So I did write about campus politics, but I also covered campus music and campus poetry and fashion issues and issues around hair. And then I met Kutlwano Skosana and Dino, and they said, we're going to Joburg. We want to start a media company, something like Vibe Magazine, The Source Magazine. They were like, you know, South African culture is amazing. Kwaito was happening. We had our own local hip-hop, fashion music, but there was no media that covered that. We take it kind of for granted today because everything's aimed at the youth.
Yeah.
But back when we were 18, 19, 20, nothing was aimed at us. No one really thought we were a market. And we were like, we want to take our journalism skills and be something like what Drum Magazine was back in the 60s and 50s. We want to do that now about Kwaito culture.
I mean, when you look at the Black Rage Productions, when was it, 1995 when you guys founded it?
Yes, 95.
How, I mean, that was such a seminal moment. what do you think was the significance of just this media company in Johannesburg's urban culture scene? Like, what kind of difference did it make in your view?
I think it made such a big difference, and we were all about, we want to make something for us by us. We want to make these products, but we also want to hire people, young photographers, young writers, young filmmakers, young directors, young rappers. We started out we started out actually working at Channel O, helping the formation of Channel O. So that was our in to becoming scriptwriters. And when Bongani said in the morning he knows me since then, it's because I was there in his audition.
He auditioned?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Him, Tim Howard,
He's a
Mushidi,
kid star.
Tumisho.
He's a child star.
So many big people were in that audition when we were looking there, because we were helping a company called Pam Dever Harris, who came up with Channel O under the leadership actually of Zandine Zalo, who I also used to listen to on 702 when I was a little girl. So
which little girls listen to 702? Like, that's so interesting.
Okay, well, I was 18, 19. I thought that's little 15, 16, that was what I was into.
I mean, a lot of the 18, 17-year-olds then, I don't think they were listening to like talk radio, because I think only now, over the last couple of years, people who are more teenagers are sort of like coming to talk radio.
Of course, it's like a
we're trying to
reality
make
of
it
show then. So-and-so's released, so-and-so's jail, there's been a bombing here, there's a hostel. Like, you have to be aware of that. At least me and my friends were.
Yeah.
So it was important because it didn't exist. So we had Basic, which actually became like where we met Azza as a presenter, and Bianca and DJ Bionic. So people saw these small people going into SABC and pitching a show, and I think it also gave people a sense like, we can also be young TV producers. We went SABC, we made a show called Basic, then we made a show called Street Journal, which is where Scoop Makatini came out of, and people thought that was revolutionary because he was speaking closer. It was such a cool show in the way it looked. And then we also started a record label, and that was seminal also because it was the first hip-hop label. There had been hip-hop songs, but we had a label of like a number of artists. And with groups like H2O, discovered them on YFM. And H2O's big hit was in Vernac, which was different at the time, and it paid tribute to people in our circles, which is like Stone Cherry, Magents, Kabzela. That song paid tribute to that movement of the time. So we were part of the movement in media covering culture, and there was a lot of people of the same headspace as us because apartheid had just ended, and we were young and we were free, and we could make whatever music, poetry or fashion or music or nightclubs or open mic sessions. We just had Alive with Possibility was that life.
And speaking of music, part of getting to know you is getting to know you through the music you listen to. Tell me about Straight Lendaba by Brenda Fassie. Why is it special to you?
I just think, I worked on a project last year. It was Spotify Glow, paying tribute to Brenda Fassie. And we had all people come speak about her, like Blondie and Yvonne and Chico and the late Melvin Matthews, who wrote Weekend Special and died a few weeks ago. And they came in and they spoke about Brenda, and we had an exhibition outside that I also curated, and it was important to use black creatives also who had written about her and taken photos of her. And I think ever since I've been a journalist, I started out as a journalist at Mail and Guardian, and she was one of my first interviews. And also on our own website, rage.co.za, we would frequently mention her. And she was so special because to all of us, she was everywhere. So what I love about her is if you say the word Brenda Fassie, someone's going to have a crazy story. It doesn't mean if you're at dinner with someone or a politician or you talk to a musician or you just talk to a producer, everybody has a story about Brenda because she was everywhere. And when I look at that, she gave us an album nearly every year of her life from 1983 till the year she died. And I don't know even if Rihanna could do that or like she's incomparable in what she influenced. And to me, she influenced Afropop, she influenced bubblegum. And with this song, it was a house kind of song, and I think she was a precursor actually to the Kwaito movement with this song. And every time I play a set, I tend to always play it.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Junior on Twitter says, Clement, please can you ask Maria how she felt about the Joe Nina song? We used to sing that in the 90s. Which one is that?
Ding Dong.
Is it the Ding Dong one?
Ding Dong, Maria Podesta.
Yeah.
How do I feel? I love that song.
Yeah.
And I have a very funny story about that. Because on campus, that was my nickname because it came out in 93 and I got to campus 94, so it was a big hit by then. But then I called myself that on Twitter, and then young people started thinking I was Maria Podesta of the song. And I'm like, it's not me. And then this year I had my 50th birthday party.
Yeah.
And I had it all. I had a rooftop in Braamfontein. I curated a DJ list that represented all of our Joburg beloved life. So I had Miss Party and Rosie Parade representing the new school. But the party sort of started with DJ Bionic, who had a venue in Lee Club called Lee Club in the 90s. So he's a hip-hop pioneer. We wouldn't have the hip-hop scene we have without him. Then there was DJ Ken Zero, of course, like such a important building block of South African culture. And then Admiral and Jasid of the days of Tando in Yeovil. And I also had Glenn Lewis, needs no introduction, and DJ Cleo. And then my surprise act was Tebe. Okay?
Oh,
so all
Tebe.
200 of us were having an amazing time. And my friends were like, Maria has older daughter, like firstborn her way through this party. She refuses any help. She refuses any assistance. What can we do for her?
Yeah.
So just before before everyone's about to sing happy birthday for me, my friend said, we've got a surprise for the person who said she's never been surprised in her life. And I was like, what is it? Nobody can surprise me.
Yeah.
Joe Nina comes out singing Maria Podesta just before happy birthday. I screamed, I jumped, I danced. I was delighted. It was so cute. Everyone was so happy.
Yeah.
There's videos of it, went onto TikTok and Twitter the next day. And then people started saying, oh my God, Joe Nina wrote a song about Maria in the 90s, and then he came to sing it at her 50th.
Oh,
and I was like, no, it's not me.
Yeah, but what a full circle moment, though, because you knew the song back then already.
It was such a beautiful surprise. All my friends clubbing together and everyone who organized and all the DJs, and they all got it together that he would come out and perform, and I had no idea.
Oh, man.
But it was hilarious that then young people were like, yeah, Joe Nina came and sang a song for Maria, who he loved in the 90s. And I was like, no. And then my friend said, babe, just own it. You're Maria Podesta. That's that.
Maria Podesta by Joe Nina.
Ding dong. Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
23 minutes before 11 o'clock, we are hanging out with Maria McCloy. This morning on our Hanging Out feature, we're getting to know her also through music, getting to know her through the work she has done and the work that she continues to do. And I see your calls that are coming through on WhatsApp, so I'm going to come to them in a moment. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. In fact, let's start with Gift, who's calling us from the Johannesburg CBD. Gift, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm super. Hi, Maria.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm super, man. Clement, here's the thing, and I'm not really a fan of politics and all that. And you know there are dark secrets and all that. Smalling and a skeleton, as Batabile said. But I wish Maria and Action SA could do something. I mean, Maria will go out to buy tomatoes, and then she comes back with pictures of art and you know, and she still has an apartment in Yeovil. I think it's Yeovil, if I'm not mistaken. She stays there, and it's one of those things that you also want to get a place that side, and you know, so I wish something could happen there. She said she wanted to go into politics. Maybe it's not that too late.
I didn't say that.
Somebody say that, not her.
Never.
But she studied journalism and she was exposed to politics and all that. I wish maybe she can take that path, because I believe the 10-year plan, 15-year plan, him and Mashaba, and so, you know, could have worked with collaboration with Maria. But good stalwart, NJ. Good stalwart. And for the mere fact that she's but again, then an ally of the LGBTI community. Like, we see her there, libo tandies, and like, if I can just get a picture with her.
Yeah.
But you know, she is who she is. Very shy and reserved and beautiful soul in general.
Shy.
I love her so much.
Okay, Gift, thank you for your call in the Johannesburg
Gift.
CBD.
Oh.
You shy?
I actually am quite shy, but I am shy. But when I became a journalist, I remember the day, like, I was like, it's not going to work to be shy, girl.
Yeah.
Go say hello. So I remember walking up to Tembi and Lebu, like, hi, I'm Maria.
Yeah.
You know, I went up to all the artists and introduced myself. So I'm good at pretending I'm not shy because
Yeah.
it doesn't work in our job. That was lovely what Gift said. You know what? I did live in Yeovil and we had a fire 2 years ago, going on 3 years ago, and we're actually fighting insurance to pay us back.
Really?
We lived in a beautiful building on the top of the hill in Yeovil, and it was also key because so many cultural people lived there. You know, Sisi from Freshly Ground, Kudzanai Chirai, Dineo Bupape, Nakana lived there, Tebe Magugu started his collections and working from there. So we were a creative building and we had a fire. But she is right. I am very about photographing the city and every African city I go to, actually. I like taking photos and showing people the city. I think the city is where creativity is. I don't believe any cultural movement comes out of the burbs. I think everything comes from the city and townships.
Yes.
And then it moves out.
Everybody I've spoken to on the show who is a creative always talks about the buzzing city and how it enabled that creativity and how they used to just chill. Like you would find Brenda Fassie
in Yeovil all the time.
Just that was a normal thing.
Yes.
And many other artists. What do you think of the city now?
I feel sad because I followed it for you know, we work in the city. I make my clothes at Effie Mall Studio in town. I do my embroidery in town.
Still kept it
my
there, the
bag
studio.
making in town. Yeah, Effie Mall and Tula Cindy, who are my fashion mentors, are in town. And when I did shoes, they were made in town. The beadwork people I work with are on Mai or on Market Street. And I buy cloth on Market Street. And, you know, the knitwear, where I make my knitwear isn't far away. So everything is kind of city-based for creatives. And we can see it falling apart, and that's really sad. And Yeovil looks really terrible. And I would never get involved in politics, but I think artists in music and in what we photograph and in what we make and how we collaborate with each other and across the continent is the message within itself. And, you know, music becomes diplomacy and has a message. Look at Amapiano going all over the world and Tyler being famous and Tebe Magugu and Rich Mnisi and Laduma being famous. It takes a message across the continent and across the world. And the way we like Afrobeats from Nigeria and like Nigerian style, it's kind of, I think that's the work of what we do. But I love gift message. That was very nice.
Yeah. So where do the creatives hang out now? Like, where's that like?
Hub.
What's that hub? The campfire.
I worry about that because in my day it was Newtown, you know, and now Newtown's dead, and I don't know how a city would just let, you know, Baseline was pumping. There was not only Admiral and Jazzy, but something it was curated every day, and there was the dance stuff behind Baseline, which is still happening, you know, moving into dance and everything is behind there, and Vuyani Dance Theatre. But, you know, all the coffee shops and markets, you know, there was a flea market outside Market Theatre all the time. And I guess earlier, even before I came to Joburg, the whole of Mary Fitzgerald Square was also a market. I think there is nowhere for a lot of talent came up through open mic sessions and, you know, hangout sessions. And we would discover people like, say, Simpiwe Dana at Monday Blues. Or I would go to 206 and that's where I discovered Lebu Mashile. And I kind of feel that place where people can just be discovered and practice isn't there. And I think it should be there. And I think actually every city should have one live music venue that artists can perform at that doesn't cost a lot. And every city should have a shop like Africa Rise. I sell in Africa Rise, which was in Sandton City and is now moving to Nelson Mandela Square, pioneered by Tula Cindy. And there's 40 South African and African designers in there. Imagine each city had a shop like that. Because artists want to perform, but it costs a lot to put on a show. And designers want to sell, but it costs a lot to have a shop. So there could be some sort of corporate or government intervention where we could present our creativity, I think.
Absolutely. Let's go to some WhatsApps on 072 702 1702.
Hey, 702, this is Malay. I am so excited that you have Maria McCloy in the studio today. And I just needed to send my own voice note to give Maria, first of all, a big shout out. She is such an exceptional woman in the industry. We have such major respect for Maria McCloy. I think she's made such an incredible name for herself, and particularly in PR, but just as an entrepreneur and Musoto Rauklima. And I just love your work ethic, and I think you're such an inspiration to many of us who are in the industry who have learned just by watching you over the years that hard work really does pay off. I want to send my love to you this morning and just say thank you for everything that you've ever done for me. she blessed me with the cover of Ditapel. I was wearing a beautiful, beautiful jacket by Maria McCloy. And I know if anybody knows the work that she does in design as well and in fashion, she's an icon. So we love you, Maria. Much, much love for me. And yeah, thank you, 702, for bringing such amazing, amazing guests. Thank you always for the support. Much love.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you,
so
Malay.
sweet.
That's so
Oh.
sweet. Here's another voice note.
Hello, Wonder World. This is Zoe Muteja. I'm a
Ah.
musician, and I've had the absolute pleasure of being able to work alongside the incredible, incomparable Maria McCloy. I actually just did a show at the Market Theatre on the iconic John Gunny stage, and McCloy was a part of the PR then. And our journeys go a long way because she also attended my very first album launch that happened at the Joburg Theatre for my debut album, Yellow the Novel. This is one person who's very matter of fact, who will work you to the bone, but who really believes in storytellers, in making culture. And she has been able to champion so many of us over the years so earnestly. And I would say she's a cultural icon in her own right. But it's been so beautiful to interact with her in the workspace and to also just get to know the spirit behind the work. Because once you know that, it gives a better scope and understanding of the soul that she is. So, McCloy, thank you for all it is that you have been to all of us, to me. Thank you for championing me over the years and being able to be a part of bridging the gap between us and our audiences, between us and our opportunities, between us and what we then get to do, which is tell stories and reflect the human experience. May you have a life that is filled with more wonder, more abundance, more goodness, and just know that people such as myself hold you to high regard and we're grateful for you. Mwah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Phew. Wow,
Hi,
thank you, Zoe.
Clement. I work on an annual event called Contra Joburg, where all the visual artists open their studios across the CBD, and there are more than 200 visual artists, and there are about 8 studio spaces, big studio spaces, in the CBD. It is still filled with creativity, though the city is struggling, and I agree with Maria. The creativity comes from the city.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. Those are such wonderful
Those are
voice
such wonderful messages. I'm
Yeah.
working with Male on a show actually at Constitution Hill on the 23rd, and I just worked with Zoe. And you know, the person who took me to that Zoe show was Tandiswa. She was like, let's go watch this person. And I feel like when I do my publicity work, of course we have to make money, and money is important. And creatives are not very good at the money and business part. But most important to me is to work with people who are amazing.
Yeah.
So like the people I've worked with in the past, when I invite people like you to a show, I want you to have that same wow feeling I have, which is of course the feeling of Tandiswa, who's also my friend, working with Zoe, working with Nakane. I used to work with Ladysmith Black Mambazo. Strava and his team are just incredible. I work with amazing artists like Kudzanai Churai and on FNB Art Joburg. And just like when I was a journalist on our own website, rage.co.za, and shows like Street Journal, it's about showcasing. I've always wanted to be like, the world must see what Africa's about. And we're incredible. Every day I'm like, wow, I have goosebumps when I go to these artists I work with shows and when I see this art. And it doesn't matter in our crazy political world that you cover, there is always such amazing talent.
True.
And there's no point in being talented if no one knows. So that's my job. I come in and I'm like, I'm going to show the world. I'm going to bother Clement and Bongani and all the journalists, and I nag you all every day like, please come on, artists, come on.
Yeah, because we've got such incredible artists. All right, it's 12 minutes before 11 o'clock. We're going to come back and continue our chat with Maria McCloy. I see your WhatsApp voice notes. We'll start with them after the break.
Hanging out with Clement.
On 702.
9 minutes before 11 o'clock. Hanging out with Maria McCloy this morning on our Hanging Out feature. A cultural pioneer, a publicist, a designer, a DJ. And a lot of you are sending messages. Uncle P on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, thank you for bringing us Maria. What a lovely, kind soul she is. I'm grooving along also the music that she has chosen. Thank you so much. And then another one says, Clement, Maria is Maria is a special-rooted woman who does not see herself as a celebrity at all. When I was a PR intern at MultiChoice, I got our team to buy African print bags and notebooks from her store as PR gifts to launch Ebony Live channel on DSTV. She still remembers my face from that time. Whenever I see her at random venues in Joburg, she always greets me, which I find to be so touching. Oh, that's a message there from someone on the WhatsApp line. Here are some WhatsApp voice notes that have also come through.
Hey, Maria. This is Brian Mukwena. Yeah, hearing your voice takes me back, man. Takes me back, well, quite towards this thing. I wonder where is your friend and partner in crime, Kutwanos Kosana. Yeah, ne? Hey, those days.
Hi, Clement. So nice to hear Maria on the radio. She only came on my radar probably like 12, 14 years ago when I started collecting sneakers, and she was at this sneaker exchange or sneaker event in Braamfontein when Braamfontein was still cool. I loved how she was talking. She was one of the keynote speakers, and I loved her style. I always was just drawn to her because of how cool she was. Like, she had the swag. I remember even following her on Instagram immediately, not knowing that she has so many layers. Like, wow, I didn't know that she was a journalist. I had no idea that she was part of the Channel O gang and the ones that had this amazing cultural vibe of the mid-90s and the early 2000s. Like, I take my hat off to her for just being this type of person. I'm so glad that I tuned in today while driving in Gauteng, and wow, I could listen to this lady all day. Thanks for having her on, Clement.
I just want to say, Maria, yes, you are the mayor of culture in Jozi. Definitely. And listen, I've watched you over the years from back in the 90s, especially when you started out Black Rage, with the three of you having started what the culture is and arts and what entertainment is. You were the vibrant youth of that time. And look at you now. I am so proud of you. And yes, Clement, I also have an outfit from Maria, which she gave me as a birthday present. It's a winter jacket made of a Lesotho blanket, which I'm glad to be wearing again this coming winter. Congratulations, Maria, for everything that you are and you are still to be. Notemba.
Wow. Oh my God.
Beautiful.
Those messages, those are so great. And how nice to get them as I turned 50 this year.
Wow.
And those people really encompassed all that I am, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Let's wrap up with one of your other favorite songs. You love Trompies, eh?
I love Kwaito, period.
Yeah.
I believe that was our golden era. And also, I don't believe in music ending. I think Kwaito became Durban House, which became piano, actually. I don't believe like Kwaito just ended there. But to me, that's my golden era. And, you know, Trompies are amazing. Lebu, I mean, it's sad we lost her.
Yeah.
Imagine what she would be doing today.
Oh.
I also tend to always play this song in my sets.
Mahasman.
Haki Fensui, Haki Jivey, Haki Jivey. Hold on. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Oh man, beautiful, beautiful music. You know, the thing about you is, I mean, I never play so many songs on the Hanging Out feature because we end up talking. But you love music.
I do.
And I was like, I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't incorporate as much music as we could. I was hoping we'll get to Black Coffee featuring Nakani, We Dance Again, because that's one of the best numbers ever. And I know you were telling me a story of air that you actually made that song happen.
Yeah, so you remember I said I lived in Westminster Mansions.
Yeah.
Anyone want to do some legal work for me? We need help getting our insurance to rebuild it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
from 3 years
Nakane
ago.
was my neighbor, actually. And he's the partner of a colleague of mine from when I worked at MTV.
Yeah.
So very close. They even shot the video there. I was there while they were recording. And I had known Black Coffee actually since before he was famous. I met him at the Red Bull Music Academy in about 2004. And then when he had Shana, I ended up doing some bio writing for them. He actually, when I did a Mail and Guardian story when he announced to the world that he had a disability, because he didn't always say that till 2009. And also when he covered Hugh Masekela's Stimela, I wrote a story about that also for the Mail and Guardian. So I had a close enough relationship to DM him and say, like, you have got to listen to Nakane. This is Nakane's number. They got together and We Dance Again happened. And I just love that. I love connecting people.
Yeah. What does Maria McCloy still want to do? You're turning 50 this year.
I turned
You've
50.
reflected on your journey. You've turned 50.
Yeah.
You've reflected on your journey. Is there anything else you like? That's always been on my list and I want to achieve that.
Well, like I was saying, I just was talking to someone at City Press who just told me that this is their last edition. So I'm wondering, I'm so sad about media and journalists. What's happening? Like, we're losing TV and newspapers and even online. So I'm worried about that and looking at that. Like, what is my next move going to be? I kind of always have made it work, being a journalist, then being a publicist, also doing clothes, also DJing, all doing it. And someone said, if you were rich, what would you be doing? Like, what would you want to do if you had all the money in the world? And I said exactly this.
This. Wow.
I would like to carry on like this. I would definitely like to travel more,
Yeah.
travel throughout the continent, make things, make clothing and jewelry throughout the continent. But I also want to keep telling African culture stories in whatever medium that's going to exist from now on.
Yeah. Well, Maria McCloy, thank you so much. We appreciate you and thank you for your contribution to the culture and the scene and the industry. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be invited, and Kutlwano and Zino are listening too. Zino's
Shout out to them.
He is a lecturer in journalism in England, and Kutlwano is in Italy and has a podcast called the Shades and Layers podcast.
Beautiful.
So I'm just here representing all of us, and we appreciate it, and I appreciate people who appreciate my current work too. It was a privilege to be here. Thank you.
Love it.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.